where we discuss the latest manufacturing technology, research, and news. Today's episode is sponsored by IMTS Plus. I am Ramia Lloyd, and I'm here with...
I'm Elissa Davis.
Stephen Lamarca.
Benjamin Moses. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
Guys, we were just talking about theme parks, amusement parks, mainly Orlando,
Yeah.
the theme park of the world. We're headed down there shortly. MFG conference.
Yep.
Woo!
Yay, yay!
Alyssa, you want to tell us how the podcast
Yeah.
will be down there?
So last time we recorded, we had mentioned that we should start doing podcasts like on the go, like at different places, and I think I suggested, I was like, oh, what about MFG? And we were like, oh, I don't know. And then my boss, Chris, who is in charge of MFG, was like, hey, how would the Tech Trends people feel about doing a live podcast at MFG? And I sat there for a second because I was like, did he listen in on our conversation? He didn't. He needed us to fill a slot.
Your boss doesn't listen to our podcast.
That's what I was about to say!
That's a hot take.
Boom!
Chris?
It's a good thing I just said Chris and not his last name. So there's like 4 Chris's who are here.
Yeah, Chidzik. That's not him.
And I was like, I mean, I can speak for myself. I would love to do it because I'm already going to MFG. And then I know he reached out to you guys and was like, hey, would you be interested in recording a podcast down there? So we are now recording a live episode. Yep. Obviously, we'll release it on YouTube and it will not be live, but we'll be recording it live.
It'll be first time in front of a studio audience.
Yes, and we'll
That'll be
be
really
audience questions. It'll be interactive.
Can we have a laugh track on top?
I would love that.
It'll just be me.
It will
It'll just be me.
I
We
think
don't need it.
it'll be so great because the crowd's just going to be silent.
It's just gonna be us like laughing at each other.
Like, I know I won't even get, boo, Steven, you suck.
I'll do it.
Well, from on stage.
We're on stage heckling
I'm
each
like,
other.
boo.
But it'll be interesting because we're only going to have 2 mics on stage.
Yeah, we're going to have to share mics. Also, we're competing
gonna
against
yell.
The World According to
Yeah.
Pat McGibbon.
Across the hall will be the world according to star Patrick McGibbon, who I thought was retired. Will be interviewed
back
by
into
another
silence.
person, Steve Lesnowich, who used to work here, thought he was retired too. They're going to be taking our audience away by talking about businessy things and bottom line and, how to keep underpaying your millennials and Gen Zers. That was mean. Are we going to have to cut that?
No, we're keeping it. Retweet. No, just kidding.
We are going to try
Ben
so
said no.
on the episode, you're going to hear them heckling Pat across the way.
Yeah.
We should have a dance battle. From our chat
hold
rooms.
on.
All right, that's not nice.
Pat's a good dancer.
I know. That's why I said that. Pat's gonna eat us up.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it'll be, but if you want to, World According to, if you want to learn about business and money, you should go there. But if you want to laugh and,
Have fun.
giggle
Learn
with
about
us
technology.
And talk about technologies. They did say they're not talking about technology.
that is true.
They're talking about businessy things.
But if you like to be one of us and have Ben tell you to refocus, then you should
One
come.
of us. One of us.
Speaking of
Google
which,
gobble. Google.
Ramia, can you tell us about today's sponsor?
Today's sponsor is IMTS Plus, manufacturing digital content to get you ready for IMTS and after. We are hosting videos and articles on topics relevant to manufacturing technologies and the business of manufacturing. And it's all free. I guarantee you will find something you like.
Steve, testbed.
Testbed updates.
Updates on the updates.
Updates on the
Yeah, I didn't remember all the updates last time 5 minutes ago. So the other updates, we got to host the lovely and most polite person in the world ever, Kyle Saleeby.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Kyle Saleeby, Georgia Tech.
Of the TLCs.
Of the TLCs, yeah, Cyber Kyle, as Tom Curvis refers to.
So hold on. Let's recap. He's on the Tom and Lonnie chat along
Yes.
with Tom and Lonnie, and you're hosted by yourself.
And myself.
Right? Okay.
There's
We
4
just
hosts.
randomly added another person.
It's the Tom and
And it was
Lonnie
like
chat.
Tom and Lonnie, their name
Yep.
in the title.
It's the Tom and Lonnie chat featuring Stephen Lamarca and Cyber Kyle.
Because they're the oldest and most established.
And
You
so
know.
Kyle came up from Georgia Tech to visit our facility to talk about potential projects, but also check out our test bed.
Check out our test bed. Potential projects. He came up to visit to get a better grasp of how he can be more involved with MT Connect, which is something he's very excited and interested in because back at Georgia Tech, he runs the AMPF. Wish I could tell you what that stood for. Additive Manufacturing production facility.
Yes.
Sounds right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Count
They've got a lot of machines there, so naturally you want the data from all of these machines to be in the same format and in the same context and semantics as we use. So MT Connect that's MT Connect's bread and butter. We also have one of the things that we test the MT Connect with and use as a proof of concept and as a means of customer service and understanding. We have MT Connect on our test bed. But we also need help with our test bed because nobody here is a machinist or roboticist. So Kyle, who's great at thank you, Ben. Thank you.
We're getting there.
Maybe in the next decade.
When you have gray hair.
When I have gray hair, when I got that salt and pepper going on, I might know how to move a robot. Program one. But he just wants to help out and he really is excited about producing and providing soft jaws for our robot and our robot gripper. And he had a great idea while we're trying to automate a Pocket NC, which is a small 5-axis machine tool, but it's not the most automated in terms of its work holding.
Right.
So like if you want to change a tool on the Pocket NC, it doesn't have a tool changer. You need to wrench at it. If you want to change the stock in the ER40 collet that can hold up to a 1-inch bar stock in the B table, you need to take a wrench to it and loosen it. Kyle came up with a great idea while he was here in his limited time. He was like, listen, what we could do, if you want, you could get a cheap air compressor, which Ben immediately said no to, and for understandable reasons. But we don't necessarily need too much torque to like wrench something down if we use a work holding like a table vise with a dovetailed material. So he's also offered to pre-machine stock material for us that's dovetailed, that requires minimal torque effort, something that a 15 Newton limited robot could do to lock in the material. So, at least in terms of ideation, we're a step closer to automating our manufacturing cell.
One thing I do want to toss out as a term also is that I think we can get to collaborative operations. So in terms of like the feedstock, right, it's got a collet that you have to twist down the nut. So what I'm thinking in the short term before we can get to the other piece of automation in place is having the robot feed it in, load it into the collet, and then the human gets involved and lock down the features. Or if you need a tool change, the robotic arm can hold it, the human will unlock it, and then the robot will take it away. So that's where I think we can experiment because that is a growing trend we're seeing is using collaborative robots to do collaborative operations, not just to work close to an environment, but where the robot can support the human. So I think that'll be a very useful experiment in our test bed.
You like how I threw in ideation?
That's nice. Yeah.
Do I sound corporate?
Amazing.
I feel like so much synergy with these words.
Synergy.
Whoa.
I was waiting for Ramia to react to soft jaws.
That was last episode.
She left that out already.
Steve, let's roll into generative AI. I know someone's got some hot takes on it.
Oh yeah, man. So last episode I had a article from Wall Street Journal. I got another boomer media company. I got Forbes has a great article titled "Generative AI Sucks." Meta's chief AI scientist calls for a shift to objective-driven AI. Let's find out what that means. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Unlike current AI, which excels in narrow domains without grasping causality, I was about to say casualty. I screwed that up a lot with causality. Objective-driven AI would be capable of casual reasoning and understanding the relationships between actions and outcomes. Now, trying to decipher, Forbes's, English psychobabble with so many words that have zero value. I think what that means, generative AI or generative design, for example, is starting with parameters. So like you have a part that you want to make. Let's say you want to make a chair. Well, how big do you want the chair to be? what weight capacity do you want this chair to be able to hold? And then you choose other things like how many legs. If you enter all of those parameters in the beginning and tell generative AI to have at it, it will send you upwards of 100 different designs to which you can pick and choose. What I think this new AI, what's it called again? Objective-driven AI.
Yep.
What I think this means it will do is it will have a conversation with itself instead of requiring your input. It will make assumptions, but it will make multiple assumptions and go down forks, create forks in the road. So depending on how how it thinks the different possibilities that its conversation with you, the initial designer, may go, it will pre-think out those different ways and zero in without much intervention from you. You just pick and choose what you like.
Right.
Its final design. So I wouldn't say generative stinks.
Right. I agree with you. It's changing the conversation a little bit. So, for example, like on the robotic side, right? It's the parallel is on programming. You tell it where you want to go, and then it'll go that path. What if you need to change? You constantly iterating to get to that final position, as opposed to like an object or task-based robotic scenario where you say, pick up that cup or pick up that nut, right? Then you're giving it a endpoint that it has to figure out how to get to that endpoint. And it's an interesting point where they're looking at removing human from the decision-making process still. And that's where the generative AI is still very useful, is that it's giving you information, but it's just like when we look at quality or any type of thing in manufacturing, you can trust, but you have to verify. That's where the human is still very important. Getting to an objective-based AI, which I think is useful in certain scenarios. We're still comparing it to text-based AI tools. I'm not 100% sure that's the best scenario for that type of tool.
Yeah. While I think this technology is fascinating, what I foresee happening is you giving it a command like, hand me that cup.
Right.
And instead it opens the fridge and hands you a can of Coca-Cola.
Right.
And it's like, well, I thought that the next step would be fill it with a beverage. And then, so it went down that way. But you get to choose what it does first. So.
But it does highlight a really big flaw in artificial intelligence right now. And a lot of people are asking more and more about this is, how did it get to that decision? To your point is, I just wanted a cup of water. Why did you give me a cup of soda?
Right.
Right. So I want to know what decisions it made to get there.
I would just be happy that it fills the cup with any beverage fit for a human being and not like sulfuric acid.
It tries to kill you.
Not that that's just lying around, but like.
Why do you have sulfuric acid in your house?
I mean, I guess we're just bypassing the idea that the robots can read our mind.
Yeah.
We talked about the Neuralink chips.
Why Neuralink is bad.
So
Privacy. I don't want it reading my mind. Predict my mind, but don't read it.
Steve, I want to take my next article one layer down.
My mind.
I want to talk about machine learning. So I got an article. I think they misspelled revolutionizing. They put an S in there instead of a Z.
Oh, no.
It could be
European.
The impact of machine learning and robotics. And the scenario that comes up quite a bit is productivity for robotics. And traditional robotics, even pendant learning or on machine learning or machine programming, where you kind of move and define the pose on the machine robot itself, or background or offline programming. It's all iterative, right? A human is doing something, giving instructions, go to the field, make sure it's correct. It's machine learning is being able to take the vast amounts of data, learn from that data on the previous task, and make decisions going forward. So the concept would be on a bin of parts where it has to pick up using suction. On the previous part, it didn't work in a specific orientation. So I'd use that data to figure out, okay, don't do that pose again. Pick another part that has higher probability of success. So right now we're seeing a lot of acceleration on the programming side to get to an automated cell quicker, or get to applying the automation quicker.
Yeah. I think Forbes is inappropriately highlighting Meta's AI team.
Yep.
I don't know who these clowns are, but
Forbes.
like Sam Altman or Sam Altman, whatever his name is, the guy who was at OpenAI before his company fired him. He said that, like, as great as, you might think that the current AI that we have, like ChatGPT-4, is so amazing, but it's still dumb and it's like way off. And like what you're saying with like everything that this AI that they're talking about in this Forbes article, the foundation, the roadmap to develop where it is now, what they're talking about, has been laid out in, like, for example, maintenance. You have reactive maintenance, then you have predictive maintenance, and then you get to predictive and then prescriptive maintenance. They're like on one step past reactive maintenance in terms of this level of AI. It's like everything, all of this work has already been done. Why aren't we at predictive or prescriptive already?
Yep.
And it really should be there, but we're getting there.
We're there. Yeah. And
this is a bunch of coding that I don't know how to do, so I'm not going to give them too much hell for it.
The article does talk about applying like continuous improvement practices using machine learning to get to reducing waste, improving operations, and they do talk about predictive maintenance on that also. So It's a good article. They do raise the concerns, because now you've got data quality, which is very, very important, right? If you're
super important.
Training a model on this data set, and if you have a false data set, it's going to keep applying that, thinking it's true. So there's a lot of concern about data quality, security concerns, now that you're transmitting data, and also on certain layers, the ethical concerns about how you train your model. So we don't see that too much on the manufacturing floor. We get that into as object recognition and the training sets from there. But I thought it was kind of cool article about applying machine learning to improve your efficiency to get to an automation cell quicker. Elissa?
Bypass one of the best things about this article is that the guy's name they talked to is Andrew Crackett.
This is true.
Crackett is a great last name.
Elissa, you've got something that we want to end with on STEM.
Yeah. So I was an averagely smart 17-year-old, run of the mill, took a couple AP classes, passed the test, but like it was like AP Gov and AP Lang. So like,
Yeah.
You can memorize a lot of things.
Yeah, I can memorize a lot of things. Exactly. And I know how to write an essay that just says the same thing 25 times, but sounds a little bit different.
See,
So can ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is the intelligence of an average 17-year-old?
I believe that.
Probably. So this is at the first ever National STEM Film Festival. STEM Festival, which features 150 student inventions. It specifically highlights this Utah high schooler, Alex Antonio Hernandez Juarez. He's 17, and he is working on he created this software because his cousin is deaf. And he created this software that takes the hand motions of ASL and translates them into written and spoken English.
That's awesome.
So it cuts out that middleman of needing to know ASL to communicate with someone who is hard of hearing or deaf. And I mean, all the kids there were between grades 6 and 12. And it's like, that's great. I mean, I was reading at a high level in 6th through 12th grade, but don't ask me to code anything because it's not going to happen. So, but yeah, this was the first ever national. I keep wanting to say STEM Film Festival, and that's not correct. STEM Festival, and it was in DC. So yeah,
I like how the fast pace of something like this. Because if you take a step back, right, they're using hands. Because if you think of how they developed this, right, they use pictures or hand signs to say, okay, this hand sign means this. And then developing the training model and then converting that to words and text. So if we think through it, it's conceptually straightforward, but the fact that someone at that education level is being able to apply all those different tools together and create something that's very coherent, right? It's nothing disjointed about it. It's a well thought out pipeline of problem statement and solution.
Yeah, the longer I'm in this industry, the longer I realize I was a really dumb teenager.
Well,
I'm really dumb.
Same.
We had those kids come by, the robotics teams last year, and I was like, oh, you're all like 13, 14, 15. When I was 15, I didn't know how to spell the word restaurant correctly. I still struggle with that.
Didn't know how to cut their tags off of their jackets, though. Nerds.
Although it would be fair, turn it around. I am glad that they're smart in doing it, not me
True.
trying
Yes.
to do this.
True. That
Because
is
they
very
exist,
true.
I don't have to worry about Russia's
Yes.
hypersonics.
Yeah. So
Please.
yeah, I thought it was really cool. I mean, obviously there was a lot more cool inventions at the festival, but that was the one they highlighted in the article, and I was like, that's just fascinating because and they have like when you open the article, the graphic is actually him showing like the software.
Cool.
So it's like him with his hands and like showing like the different
Yep.
points.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So it's it's fascinating. I just it makes me hope that my kids will be smart.
Shout out to Andrew. That's his name.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me double check.
What can be?
Alex Antonio Hernandez.
Dang it.
You were close. You got the A.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alex in Utah.
Ramia, where can they find more info to correct us about their names in the future?
amtonline.org/resources. Like, share, subscribe.
Ding dong.